Greetings and salutations. My name is Don Dillard. I am your philosophy professor. And in this brief video, I'm going to discuss the upcoming assignments for this week and for the remaining of the course. In particular, I'm going to discuss the discussion boards. So let's get started. Now, as I indicated in the weekly announcement and in an email to the class, last week was our final week for the applied knowledge exercises and for the quizzes, which means that there won't be any quizzes or applied knowledge exercises for the remaining of the course. However, we will have weekly discussion boards. And the weekly discussion boards require two things. First, an initiation, and second, a response. Now, very briefly, just to sketch out what you need to do on these initiations and responses, and these, just again, quick sketch. It's much more involved than this. The initiations, you have to do three things. First, you have to choose and then outline one of the ethical theories you've studied over the course of the semester. Secondly, summarize the case study on the discussion board. And then the third, apply the theory that you chose in 1 to the case study, which you summarize in 2. So your initiation should always have those three distinct and separate points. An outline of the theory, a summary of the case study, and an application of the theory to the case study. Now, that's due every Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. Initiation posts are due every Wednesday, like clockwork, by 11:59 p.m. Now, after you post your initiation, then you can post a response. The responses have to do three things. They have to summarize one of your peers' initiations. Then you need to provide a pro and a con to those initiations. And I'll get to what those mean in a second. Again, this is just a very brief sketch. This isn't in detail. We're going to get to the details here in a second. Okay, so what you should avoid at all costs is treating these discussion boards like they're social media. There's a misnomer about discussion boards. Discussion board seems to imply a kind of chat, but it's not a chat. It's not social media. Please do not write social media type responses and initiations on the discussion board. These are college level assignments, and I expect a very high level of discourse given that environment. Okay, so what are the guidelines? Well, to see the guidelines, first you have to go to the course content, and then you need to go down to week 12, which is our current week. Week 12, you'll see discussion instructions, and it indicates that you should read it before posting, and you should. And then there are two discussion boards, Applied Discussion 1 and Applied Discussion 2. So let's unpack those a little bit. Now, I'm not going to talk about the discussion boards right now. Let's first talk about the instructions. So let's open this up. So I should mention as well, the responses are due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. You have to post both. So you can't post an initiation and then skip the response and expect to get partial credit. You also can't get any credit if you don't meet the deadlines, which is to say, if you post your initiation on Thursday, you missed the deadline. So crucially, make sure that you're posting your initiations before the deadline every Wednesday, and your responses before the deadline every Sunday. That's got to happen like clockwork. If you miss the deadlines or if you skip one of the posts, you can't earn any credit for partial work or late work. Okay, so discussion board initiations. Again, the brief sketch was choose a theory, summarize a case study, and apply the theory to the case study. So what does that mean? By choose a theory, I don't mean just simply choose it like it's a Pokemon. You have to outline it. Tell me what the theory is about. Put it into your own words. And there are 7 discussion board posts. We covered at least 4 theories: Kantianism, utilitarianism, virtue ethics, and ethics of care. You can use those theories no more than twice. So you can use Kantianism twice, utilitarianism twice, virtue ethics twice, and ethics of care once. However you want to do it, right? But you can't use them more than twice, and you have to use them at least once. And again, there are 7 boards. And you're only using 1 theory per board. Okay, so next step is to summarize this case study. And to summarize a case study, you must explain what the ethical issue actually is. And you do this by discussing the moral values at stake and how they are in conflict. We've discussed this in the past, or at least I have in past videos, and you've done this in the past, identified what the moral issues are. So if you need help for identifying moral issues, please see all the information I posted in the past, the videos and so on, about how to discuss and explain the ethical issues in cases. Now, make sure you fully explain that. Fully explain does not mean write 1 or 2 sentences. These are not fill-in-the-blank type of answers. These are essay answers. So make sure and explain your answer fully. Okay. Step 3, apply the theory to the case, which is to say, you're essentially imagining that you are putting yourself in the position of someone who subscribes to a particular moral point of view. In this case, a Kantian, a utilitarian, a virtue ethicist, or a care ethicist. You're putting yourselves in the shoes of that particular ethic, and then applying it to the case such that you're imagining that you're someone who subscribes to that point of view, and then explaining how someone, namely yourself, would resolve that case from that ethical point of view. So less abstractly, if you're adopting the Kantian point of view, you're explaining how a Kantian would try to resolve the ethical issue you raised about the case study. Okay, and that's what the initiation is. So, discussion board responses. Begin by first expressing your own understanding of your peer's position, right? You're essentially letting your peer know, hey, here's what I got out of your initiation. So sometimes it's helpful to get outside perspectives on your own writing, and that can help develop your writing better. So here you're simply summarizing what you got from your peer's view. And that's going to be basically step 3 from the initiation. So when you summarize your peer position, you're essentially when you summarize your peer's position, you're essentially summarizing their application of the theory to the case study. Okay. After you summarize your peer position, provide a pro to a peer's position. Do not, under any circumstance, write, you did a super great job, you're a super awesome writer, great job, we're having a great semester, woohoo! Please avoid that. Pros are not congratulatory. Again, these are not social media posts. It's nice to say nice things, but that's not the point to the discussion board. The point to the discussion board is to think critically about these things and to engage in an ethical dialogue. So what's the pro? A pro provides additional support or justification for your peer's example. So you're basically saying, hey, here's what you did, I think you did right, and here's some additional support or justification for the things I think you did right in your initiation. So what's a con? A con is not punitive. Just like a pro is not congratulatory, a con is not punitive. So please don't post, I didn't see anything negative about this person's post. It's not negative. A con is constructive. You're essentially helping your peer identify areas of weakness in their reasoning or logic or intuition. You're basically helping them see, hey, here's an area that you could improve upon. Okay, so every initiation should have 3 sections, where you choose an outline of theory, second, summarize the theory, and the third, apply the theory to the case study. And then on the responses, there should also be 3 sections for every response. You summarize your peer position, provide a con, and a pro. Okay, so all these instructions are in the course module. I'm not sure what I add by verbalizing these things, but maybe sometimes it's helpful to some people. Maybe I've added a few details which helps sort of like flesh out what I'm expecting out of these assignments. But essentially, this is the final step for a philosophy class. You've moved beyond or outside of your own mind. You're not simply articulating arguments to yourself, now you're articulating arguments to others and responding to those arguments. You're engaging in a public dialogue, which is the ultimate point of a philosophy class, being able to articulate your own points of view and to be able to respond to the views of others in a very systemic and deliberate way. Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you for your kind attention, and until next time, take care.